You are originally from Spokane.
Yep.
Can you give us some like of your backstory to where you went to high school, growing up here?
Totally. So I went to elementary school at Meadow Ridge. So if I would have stayed over there, I think I would have gone to Mount Spokane or Meade. But my mom ended up being hired at Cheney High School as the French and German teacher. So we
Wow.
moved out to Cheney when I was in fourth grade. And then my mom ended up being my French teacher for all 4 years in high school, which was, thank God she was like one of the very cool teachers because there were some other kids in my grade whose parents were like the scary teachers, and I felt
Yes.
very, very bad for them. But yeah, my mom was amazing. And then I went to WSU actually as well.
Go Cougs, baby.
Go Cougs! Yeah.
Did you always know that you wanted to have this amazing, unique career, or when did that kind of come into play for you?
Not at all. I actually thought I wanted to be a high school math teacher at Cheney High School. But when I was at WSU, I got about halfway through college pursuing a math major and really was just like hitting a dead end. I was in calculus 3 and it just kind of felt like we were all trying to teach ourselves. Like our professor wasn't the best. And I just hit a point where I was like, oh, this is actually not what I want to do. So I ended up switching to a broadcast production major, and you had to take a public speaking class as part of the requirements. And I just started turning all of my assignments into comedy sketches, basically. I was like going way above and beyond. I was like showing up to class in costumes for some of it, like
Yes.
truly seemed like mentally unwell for times, I think. But I was having so much fun with it. And my professor pulled me aside and was like, you kind of remind me of Kristen Wiig, and you seem to really be enjoying this, and you should maybe look into like the open mic night here at the college. So I went, and I do think like if it even goes kind of well your first time, you can just get so hooked. And so
Sure.
now it's been 15 years and I
Wow.
feel so lucky to do it for a living. But yeah, I mean, comedy is such a crazy path.
You did your open mic night, you got the bug,
Hmm.
and then what was your trajectory to getting where you are now?
Yeah. So, my senior year at WSU, I ended up starting a weekly show at a bar there. I think it's called something else now, but it was called Mike's, where like the basement turned into a whole like dance club. There were like, cages hanging from the ceiling.
I've
It
heard
was
of it. I've heard of
okay.
this.
Yeah. The
Yes.
legends. It was like the upstairs was like a normal bar, and then you went downstairs, and it was like you crossed the border into like
Yeah.
Tijuana or something. It was
Yes.
just like lawless down there. So insane. So anyway, I approached actually it was the DJ who like ran the bar, and I just said, "Can I please start a weekly comedy show here?" So I did that my senior year, and that really helped me get more stage time. And then I moved to Seattle after I graduated. I was there for a few years. And then I moved to LA after that. And when I was in LA, I started opening on tour for a comedian named Jim Norton. And that was really my transition into being a full-time comedian. And then from there, I became a headliner.
How does it feel to know that you've come so far and you're living your dream?
It's the greatest and the craziest thing ever. I mean, I think growing up in Cheney, you don't even realize that it's possible to work in entertainment at all. I mean, my
Right.
high school was very much like future farmers of America vibe.
Yes.
It
Yep.
was like if you weren't planning on raising cattle at some point, that was not very normal. So that's why I think I was picturing being a teacher, because it just didn't seem like that was even a possibility. So the fact that I have now gotten to a place where I get to do it for a living, and it's still, even after 15 years, is the thing that makes me the happiest, is like I really do feel so lucky.
Here at the magazine, we're an all women small run team, and
Oh, I
you
love that.
are a woman in a predominantly, it's turning a different way, but predominantly male space.
Yeah.
How has that been for you?
It's been interesting. I think it has its advantages and disadvantages. I do feel like you can really stand out because you are not one of like a million white dudes.
Right.
And so I think if you can get good and really hone your craft, you do stand out. And so I know for me, another like particular advantage was that Jim Norton, when I had first started talking to him, I knew he had had women open for him in the past. And I think he felt that he preferred that sort of balance on his touring shows, that he didn't necessarily want a male comic going up right before him and
Sure.
potentially talking about a lot of the similar topics that he could talk about. And I knew that Amy Schumer had opened for him before. And so I had asked him after he did my podcast, like, hey, if you ever need somebody to open for you, I'd love to do it. And then that turned into 3 years of touring with him. And so who knows, if I had been a guy, that might not have been my path at all. So there
Right.
are definitely advantages. And then of course, still lots of
Yep.
disadvantages. And
Yep.
sometimes you have to prove yourself way harder and way more than I think being given the benefit of the doubt, being a man in comedy. So
Well, you're very inspirational and admirable for your talent and
oh,
doing
thank
so
you.
well in this space. So it's
Thank
awesome
you.
from, Spokane girl to Spokane girl. It's so cool to see you
Yeah.
shining.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
How does it feel to come home this weekend and perform here?
I love it. Every time I get to perform in Spokane, it's so special. It's because, it's like I'm touring all over every year, and a lot of the places I have like zero history in, and it just can kind of feel more lonely, right? And so to get to be in Spokane, where I grew up, have family and friends in the crowd, just know the city itself, get to do like local jokes and stuff like that is a really special thing. So I'm really excited.
I'm like, please roast us. Spokane needs it. We need it. We
Oh,
always need it.
Spokane. Yeah,
I
there's
know,
always
right?
it's always roast worthy. Yeah, there are always things.
That is funny. So, and my last question for you is, you're you're 15 years in. Where do you want to be in the next 15 years?
That's a good question. I have been trying to transition more into theaters, and
Awesome.
that's been exciting. I think the goal when your, primary career is stand up is to like continue to grow your fan base and continue to sell tickets and kind of keep moving up in those venues. So that's my hope, is to like really be able to keep touring the way I want. And I'd love to do some more acting things. I would love for my podcast. I co-host a podcast with my boyfriend, Chad Daniels, who's also a comedian, called Pretend Problems, and we would love for that to take off as well. So, just like all the many different things. Yeah.
Yes. Well, we are rooting for you not only here in Spokane, but I think everywhere. Your fan base looks like it's growing daily. And
Oh,
so
that's so
when
nice.
I
Thanks.
posted yesterday that I was interviewing you, I had some people freak out. So I was like, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, we're going to talk to her.
that's really nice. Oh,
Yeah.
thanks.
So I know Spokane is really excited to have you this weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't wait.